kind of people who love to listen to music, well, that's my sister. She listens to music all the time, and she has her headphones in like 24/7. So it kind of poses as a problem whenever I'm trying to get her attention. You can call her name 20 times, and she never hears you. And that's because she's so busy listening to her music that she doesn't hear you when you're speaking. And if you think about it, don't we kind of do the same thing to God? We get so caught up in our daily lives that we completely miss out on hearing from God. If you flip to Ecclesiastes 5:1, it says, "Guard your steps when you go into the house of God. To draw near to listen is better than to offer sacrifices of fools, for they do not know what they are doing is evil." The people in this passage, they don't realize what they're doing is wrong because they're not even talking to God. They're so busy and caught up in the act of sacrificing that they don't realize that because they're not asking God if this is right or wrong, that they don't see that their sacrifices are foolish and their actions are made evil. And if the people in this passages, if their sacrifices are foolish and their actions can be made evil, and all because they're not listening, what about us? If we don't listen, what are we? Are our actions evil? So that is why it is so important to listen to God. And the way that we do that is through prayer. Not the one-sided prayer that's like, "Dear God, I need this, and this by Tuesday." No, I'm talking the conversational, loving, taking in just prayer you have with God. You have that moment with God that it's just you and Him and no one else in the room. When it's just you two and you listen to Him, you truly take it and you listen to what He's saying. And that's what's important. God's going to open up, in those moments, He's going to open up your eyes to things that you've never seen before. He's going to make you promises that you've never really thought about. And He's going to expand you. He's going to stretch you. He's going to ask you to do things that you didn't think you could do. That's exactly what He did to Joshua when he was at the city of Jericho. Joshua listened to God. In Joshua 6, Joshua listened to God whenever He told him to march around the city one time every day for 6 days and 7 times on the 7th day. And then they shouted and they yelled and then pounded their drums at the end of the 7th day. And the walls crumbled. Not because Joshua was amazing and mighty. All he did is he listened for God and what He was asking him to do, and then he obeyed what God was saying. He didn't, even though probably people around him were saying, "Oh, this isn't going to happen, this doesn't do anything." No, he didn't listen to those people. He listened to God and what He was saying, and he did what God had asked. That's all he did. God has a plan for each of us. We just need to open up our ears and hear it. And then when God tells us what the plan is, and He will, we need to do it. I just want to close this on a personal story of mine. I was blessed to go on a missions trip to Belize this last summer. And it was an amazing trip. While I was down there, I got the chance to pray with this woman. And as I was praying for her, God just told me to put my hand on her stomach. And I'm like, "God, I can't do this. This is weird. I'm going to offend the lady. I don't even speak her language. Why?" And I literally came up with every excuse in the book why not to do this. Then finally I was like, "You know what, God, you know best." And I prayed for the woman. I put my hand on her stomach. And I didn't pray any magnificent prayer. I just asked God to help her and heal her in whatever way He did. And so I sat down in my seat, just excited that I listened to God and did what He had asked. And while I was sitting there, the pastor came up to the pulpit, and he stated that one of the members of the congregation, she had been having stomach problems for a while. And though she did not see who put their hand on her stomach, the second they did, there was a warmth throughout her body. And all the pain was gone. That is not something that I could have done. That is nothing that in my ability I could have done. That was 110% Jesus. That was all Him. He did that. He did that. All I did is I heard God speak and I obeyed. When we listen and obey to what God is asking us to do, there can be so much done in this world. There can be so many people helped. God is going to ask you to do stuff that is maybe hard and difficult, but we've got to do it. So right now, I just challenge each of you, as you're sitting here, as you go home, whatever it is, I want you to ask yourself, God, what is it that you want me to do? What is it that you have for me to do? And ask that on a regular basis, when you're going to bed or when you're waking up, so that you are in God's will, so that you're doing what God is asking you to do. Because that is the most important thing in this world, is to do what God is asking you to do.